What's going on, It's Max Sports here, bringing you episode 15 of my Carolina Panthers Owner Mode, and this is going to be the finale of this series. It's going to be the last episode, and right now I'm just going to go over everything that really happened in this past year, and everything that happened in our 2 seasons with the Carolina Panthers. So you can see that Tom Brady won the MVP. I guess he had a pretty good year because he won the MVP. But yeah, he won the MVP. Doug Martin wins the NFC's Offensive Player of the Year. Jamal Charles with the AFC Offensive Player of the Year. And then last year you could see that the 49ers did win the Super Bowl last year, as I told you in the offseason of the 2014 offseason. And they have a chance at winning it again this year. And we'll see how that works out for them. They have a few tough teams with them. And right here I'm going to be showing you the standings, who's going into the playoffs and whatnot. You can see the Patriots have the best record, then the Falcons, then the Ravens, then the Browns, then the Vikings, then the Buccaneers, then the Packers, then the 49ers at 8, Cowboys at 9, Chargers at 10, Bills at 11, and Texans at 12. That's who will be making the playoffs this season. Then right behind them was the Saints, Giants. I'm going through this very fast, and just a whole bunch of teams. We ended up being 24th, which is not very good at all, especially considering I think last year we were like 8th or 9th, maybe 10th, and the Jets ended up being like 3-13, something horrible, and they were the worst. And worst record in the whole league. And here you can see the AFC who's going in. And I was saying it wrong. I was saying that the Jaguars were the Mexico City Desperados, but I think they might have changed their location. But they are still the Jaguars, and it was the Raiders that went to Austin Desperados, Austin, Texas, I'm guessing, and they changed their name to the Desperados, not the Jaguars. But I think a team this year went to Mexico City, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not quite sure about what happened with the Jaguars. But yeah, at the beginning I was just kind of showing all the big things, which were like all the awards and stuff. And then yeah, pretty much that, all the big stories. And now I'm showing you who's making the playoffs, and going through records with division and the standings with their divisions. And so here you can see our division. We came in last at 7-9. The Saints were 8-8. Buccaneers were 10-6, I believe, and I didn't get to see for the Falcons, excuse me. But yeah, the thing with Madden though, it's kind of funny how many ties there are. Like, you'll go through the standings and you'll see like 4 to 6 teams with ties and stuff. And that's pretty crazy because usually it's maybe 2 teams every few years, which I just thought was kind of weird. But you know, it doesn't really matter, and I'm kind of just talking about random things that happen to pop up because it's kind of hard to talk over gameplay with this. But I'm going to show you team stats for our division to see like best team in the division offensively, defensively, and narrowed it down to pretty specific stats. And you can see passing, we were not the best in that. Threw a lot of interceptions, weren't able to get a lot of yards. We kind of played conservative, I would say. And the Buccaneers were an absolute shock this year, playing very well and making the playoffs, becoming second in our division and winning 10 games this year, which is a big, which is a lot better. I don't know what I was getting at, which is a lot better than last year. They were, I know they were last in our division. I don't know what their record was, but it was definitely under 500. But I'm not quite sure how bad it was. Who knows, it probably would have just been like 7-9. I'm like, wow, that sucks. And then look at us Panthers doing absolutely horrible this year. Just a big disappointment this year. I wouldn't say horrible. I'd just say we had some rough spots in our season, especially at the very beginning, going 0-4. I mean, just winning maybe 2 of those games and going 9-7 is a lot better. We'd be 3rd in our division, I believe. Might have had a chance at a wild card, and who knows what would happen from there. But yeah, we're still going through all the statistics here for our division, and you'll be able to look at them while I'm just like talking to you, and you can see how we did versus all the other teams. And this year, like I said earlier, was not to just make this all to be negative and stuff, but this year was very disappointing. I had very high expectations for this team, and we just did not complete our goals and everything. So the statistics will show that with like our just pretty much most of our statistics in general, with like our giveaways and takeaways and yardage that we got on offense, like pass yards, rush yards, total offense. And our defense, though, is pretty top notch. I think it was, at least for the most part, best in the league. Like, we had the number 1 ranked defense in the league and very low offense. I'm pretty sure like around 20, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not positive, but I think somewhere around there. And the Saints had kind of an off year too, because I think last year they had one of the best records in the league, and this year we're 3rd in our division. But now I'm going on to our team in general, our players on the Carolina Panthers, their statistics. You can see Cam Newton right there. He didn't even play the whole year because of his injury, and I feel like injuries was a big part of our 0-4 start. And that was horrible, because starting off 0-4, you almost can't do anything in the season unless you have an amazing, like, an average season is 8-8, but you take away 4 of those games and they're already lost. Then an average season, or I mean like 500 season, well, then you're at like 6 wins if you would win half your next games. So then you're 6-10, and that's not going to take you anywhere except the bottom of your division. But yeah, you can see some of the things here. Brandon Lloyd was a huge part in this series, absolutely huge. We had him from season 1 to season 2, and he was our main receiver. I'd say Steve Smith was our main receiver in the first year. Brandon Lloyd was our secondary receiver, and up there with Steve Smith in like yards and receptions, and was one of our go-to guys. But this year, he was our main man, and then Sidney Rice right behind him, I'd say. But he was our main man. He was the number 1 guy we looked to for first downs and picking up yards. And if he was open, you guarantee I'd pass the ball to him and he would catch it. He didn't drop much, except like everyone drops a few, and he did drop one that I wouldn't say cost us the game, but we were down, and it was 4th down and short, and then he drops the pass on the first down marker. And Sidney Rice was a huge part in this season. We picked him up at the beginning of the season, in the off season, him and Mario Manningham. Mario Manningham was a great veteran to really show everyone the ways, and he did pretty good this season. He did about average, I'd say. And Greg Olson, you know, his normal self, he was just an absolute beast. Didn't drop much passes at all. He's huge, and he can block, and all around great tight end. And Sidney Rice, I was saying, very good at the end of our season, especially. He became probably one of our main receivers in the last like few games, simulation wise and playing, and actual like games that I played. And yeah, Joe McKnight, he was not expected to do much. He was kind of a low overall player, but he did alright. Him and LaRod Stevens-Howling were both like 78, 79 overall, I think they were. And they did alright for not being expected to do much. But if I had a chance, I'd probably go out and get a better running back, knowing that I like to run the ball a lot more. Anyways, now on to defense. Preston Lewis, he really progressed this season, I believe, even though I didn't see much of him, or even you probably didn't see much of him in the season making a whole bunch of plays. I think his overall went up quite a bit. I think because at the beginning of the season he was 78, and then at the end of the season he was low 80s. So he went up like a good 2 to 5, I'd say. I don't think he went higher than that 80. I don't actually remember his actual overall, his exact overall. But Christopher Owens was a big part. Him and Charles Godfrey were getting interceptions like crazy, and I think I kept calling him Chad Owens, and I don't remember why. I just thought I remember saying that name, and kept saying Chad Owens for the past few games, when his name's actually Christopher Owens. But he was a big part, as well as Charles Godfrey. And Luke Kuechly doesn't miss a tackle. You know, he's an all-around all-star, and he can really do it all on defense. He's great at tackling. That's probably his best thing. He might have gotten an interception, or maybe a fumble, forced fumble, or fumble recovery, or an interception. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I remember getting something with him to do with takeaways. And Greg Hardy, you know, an absolute beast. I know we're not on that anymore, but he was still an absolute beast coming off the end and getting sacks like crazy. I believe he was leading our team in sacks with, I believe, 12. And that's not too bad. And you could really see it in the games when I played. He would get like 3-4 sacks a game, which is crazy. And now that I think of it, probably most of his sacks came when I played the games, because a lot of times you'd see like 3 or 4 sacks, and if you got that every game, that's almost 12 already, or right around 12. And you know, our defense is really good this year. Everyone all around, a lot of sacks, pretty good on coverage. I mean, not the best. Oh, sorry. I just hit my desk. Pretty good on coverage, not the absolute best, but still pretty good. Now going on to NFL records, you can see here passing yards. This is career, and then I eventually got confused and moved it over to season, and I think I also changed it to game. And yeah, so this stuff you can just kind of see the records for everything, because this really doesn't mean much, because no one in our at our time period really, like with our series, did anything in their whole career. But whenever I move it over to like season or game, you might be able to see something, and whenever I do, you'll know. But yeah, our defense is really top notch. Our offense was it was average, maybe a little below average, but I mean, I feel like we did pretty good. I would say we did average overall, even though we went 7-9, which is a little bit below average, under 500 and everything. But I feel like we did good with what we had, and now we're moving over to NFL records in one game, and you can see, you know, everything right there that happened, and some of these actually are close to this time period with like rushing and stuff, Adrian Peterson and them. But Randall Cobb of the Green Bay Packers actually came within a good, like, only about 10 to 30 yards, I think, from the receiving yards in one season record. There he is right there in second place. He was very close, and I think I might end up going back to that in a sec, so so you can see how close he was. But I don't believe he was that far away at all, and he had an absolutely amazing season this year. And it was just, yeah, right there, he came within only like 20, not even, it was like 15 yards, I think. I couldn't quite tell, but yeah, so that was pretty crazy. Madden made him an absolute beast. I think Calvin Johnson was in front of him, if I wasn't mistaken. But here you can see the wild card round: the Bills against the Chargers, the Buccaneers against the 49ers, the Browns against the Texans, and the Vikings against the Cowboys. Then I go over and I will advance the next week, and I will go back and we'll see who wins. And I had my money on, well, I'm not going to tell you because then you might get a little bit of an idea. But now you can see the Texans and the Patriots, the Cowboys and the Falcons, the Chargers and the Ravens, and the 49ers and the Packers. So you can maybe write in the comments who you think will win, or just say in your head. You know, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of fun to see what happens here. So I just kept going back and forth looking at it. And I was guessing when I was doing this too. I was like guessing in my head, and I actually got some of them right. And yeah, so now it will be the Chargers and the Patriots in the AFC Championship, and the Cowboys and the 49ers in the NFC Championship. Now I remember on this, I think I had my money on the Patriots and the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken, because the Patriots, I thought, had a very good team, and had Tom Brady, who was the MVP. And then the 49ers are the 49ers, and they're really good in this game. I wouldn't say overrated, but they're very good in this game. And now you can see the Pro Bowl and stuff, and I wanted to look at that real quick. And it'll show you all the votes and everything. You can see not right now, but we did get a few people in there, I believe. And I went over to NFC to look, and we got, I don't know. I'm just gonna wait and see if we got anyone. You can see who's all in there right now, but we got Darius Hayward-Bay in there, and I know I got a few people. I don't know what happened right there, but we got Greg Hardy in, and there's a lot of really good players in this, obviously. But you can see Justin Duran up there, and if you don't know who he is, he was someone who was on my team. He was on the Panthers in the series for about the first 6-7 episodes or so. I think 6. But when I transferred over to Xbox One, the Cowboys didn't want to trade him, so that was a bummer because he was a really good player and he would have really helped our defense. But it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so you can see everyone who got voted in right there and all their votes, and maybe some of your favorite teams or your favorite players, and you can see that they're in there. And now we go into the Super Bowl week, and I was right when I guessed it, the Patriots and the 49ers, and I really had no clue who was going to win this game because they're both very great teams. And the Patriots, I feel like, might have had the upper hand because of Tom Brady and the MVP, and they were the number one. They had the number one record in the league, and usually that's kind of how it works in Madden. There's not a lot of upsets, and if there are, they're like stupid and really shouldn't have happened. Like, I don't even know, but like crazy ones. Like the logic is just kind of odd. But now I'm going to look at it from the schedule. I will go over to, I believe, in a second. Yes, and we will see who won the Super Bowl for 2015. We go to team schedule, or no, wait, yeah, team schedule. Then we go to the closest team, and which is the Patriots because they're one away. And we'll go to postseason, and you can see that the New England Patriots beat the San Francisco 49ers 22-14 in the Super Bowl, and best record, MVP Tom Brady over the defending champions in the San Francisco 49ers. Great team overall everywhere. And it was pretty much all this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you did enjoy. And I'm going, gone. See ya.